Hey guys, and welcome into the very last mock draft of the year. This is where the channel is going to start to thrive, is we're going to be able to do realistic rebuilds on Madden and such after, do a lot of different grades. The channel is going to be very fun, but I want to take a moment just to thank everybody that's been a part of this channel throughout the past few months, since December when I really started uploading to this channel. It's been an absolute blast to see the growth. We're nearing 600 subscribers, which is absolutely insane for the amount of time that I've been doing it. I love putting out these videos, and I'm glad that everyone's watching it. So, of course, leave a like if you do enjoy, as it does help me out a lot. And thanks to every one of you guys who have subscribed and stuck with me through it all. But this is going to be my final mock draft. Now, I don't have trades in my mock drafts. I've always made it to a point to where I don't do trades. So, obviously, these aren't going to happen. A lot of these are just going to be trades happening in the draft. It happens every time. But as of right now, this is the current draft order still. We're going to go through each one. I'm going to explain it. I'll explain which teams I think can trade down and such as well. But without further ado, we'll get right into it. So the first two picks have already pretty much been announced by the teams. The Bengals weren't even fielding calls from the Dolphins to get up to number one or anything because they were taking Joe Burrow. Not much you can say about this guy that hasn't already been said. I mean, national champion, 60 touchdowns. You know the whole story. The Bengals are getting their franchise quarterback, and A.J. Green's going to be back. It should be fun to watch him with Tyler Boyd. They lost Tyler Eifert, so it'll be interesting to see if they address tight end in this draft. But they have a good spot. They have the first pick in the second round as well. They're able to get two first-round talents, in my opinion, throughout this draft. And getting Joe Burrow is going to be really fun to see. I'm glad that we got a guy, first overall pick for the Bengals, and they got their franchise guy. Going into pick number 2, which has also pretty much been announced, Chase Young out of Ohio State, the edge rusher, defensive end. Just an absolute mauler, a generational talent, best player in the draft this year. He goes number 2 to the Redskins. Now, is it a position of need? No, but will it help out the Redskins? Of course it will. I still think that they are a couple years away from competing just because of how their roster is panned out. I still think that it's even possible Kyle Allen beats out Haskins for the job at quarterback. It's going to be a very hard thing to get through, but one thing that you can't take away from this Redskins defense, or Redskins team, is their defensive line. It is going to be absolutely insane with him and Montez Sweat. Deron Payne in the middle. It's going to be a very good one. I think that they could go somewhere else, but it's already locked in. They weren't fielding calls. The Dolphins were looking up to trade to pick 2. They weren't answering as well. So I think the Falcons were trying to trade up as well, and they're not fielding it. So Chase Young's gonna be the pick here, as well as Joe Burrow is number 1. Those two are pretty much locked in. Pick 3 is where it gets interesting. Now, at pick 3, the Lions are selecting. Obviously, like I said, I don't have trades in this mock draft. I see this being a spot where the Dolphins trade up to, mostly because there's been reports that they're trying to jump ahead of the Giants, not for Tua Tagovailoa or Justin Herbert, but for an offensive lineman. They're trying to trade up for an offensive lineman. So this is a spot where they could trade up to get whoever they think should be their first pick. They have the draft capital to do it, but as of right now, if the Lions do sit at this pick, I think that Jeff Okudah is going to be transcendent for them. I think a reason they trade down is because they'll still be able to get him at pick 5 if they do trade down. But Jeff Okudah is going to transcend this defense to what Darius Slay did when he was younger as well. He's an absolute monster of a corner, shut down. I really love his game, and I think he's going to be a beast. So I have him going at pick number 3. Now at pick number 4, Giants fans, I've done a full circle this whole offseason as a Giants fan. I started off this year going into the offseason saying, I want Andrew Thomas. I want Andrew Thomas. Like, this guy's a beast. Let's get Andrew Thomas. Then I started looking at Chase Young, and I'm like, damn, this guy should be the better guy. Then as we kept going through the season, I realized that Chase Young was a little bit less attainable because we beat the Redskins, and then the Redskins got the pick. Yada, yada, yada. I had them getting Isaiah Simmons for a while. There's talks about Jedrick Wills and all these different things. I think that the happiest I would be as a Giants fan is Andrew Thomas. Why? He's been a 4-year starter. He's ready to play right away, and he's polished. You know what you're getting out of him. He's going to be a very good guy. I have him as a Tyron Smith comparison, or as at least a ceiling. I think he's that good of a player. He can play on the right side. He's done it before at Georgia, so if you play him the first year on the right tackle spot and have Solder play left, that's completely fine. You can move him back over to left the next year, and he will be able to do it. I think Andrew Thomas is by far the best tackle on this board. Obviously, there's some guys close to him, but I think Andrew Thomas is just most polished and the best one on the board. I would have the Giants take him. Now at pick number 5, I have the Dolphins going ahead and actually selecting their quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa. This could be because their best available tackle might have been Andrew Thomas as well, which is why they didn't pick a tackle here, or it's more likely what I think it is, And they're just really blowing smoke around, not really wanting people to know that they're going for Tua. All the reports are, we kind of like Herbert. We might go for offensive lineman. They're blowing smoke, in my opinion. I think that they're still going to go Tua Tagovailoa, and for good reason. This guy is going to be a generational talent. You have Fitzpatrick and Rosen if you want to wait a year for him to play. You really can take your time, and I think that's going to be very good for Tua. But overall, this is a guy who can transform a franchise. I think between Burrow and him, those are the two that are going to be franchise guys. Those Drew Brees types, where they're Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger, Eli Manning. They're going to play their whole careers, very very long careers in their respective teams, compared to the other guys like Love and Herbert and Eason from, who I think might be more Andy Dalton, Ryan Tannehill types, where you get like 8 to 10 years out of them and move on. But Tua's going to do wonders for the Dolphins. Can't wait to see him in that teal and orange. Then we move on over to the new powder blue jerseyed Chargers, and I have them taking Mekhi Becton, the offensive tackle out of Louisville. Now, a lot of people have him getting Herbert here. I simply just don't believe it. If it happens, it happens. I'm not expecting it not to. I know it's kind of an expected move that they're going to go quarterback. I'm not entirely sold. I think that when you look at the positions, if you get an offensive tackle, you just got rid of Russell Okung. You're getting a lot younger with a guy like Mekhi Becton. You're having a beast with Trey Turner on the offensive line there as well now. Offensive line has been a huge problem for you. Stick Tyrod Taylor back there. Go after Cam Newton. Go after Jameis Winston. You're able to do. Screw it. Put Easton Stick in there if you want. I don't care. But to shore up this offensive line, you have this year to still be good, still build your depth. You can even go quarterback in a later round. Like I had them getting Jalen Hurts in the 3rd round in my mock draft. You can do that as well. I think getting an offensive lineman at pick 6 is the best available option because there isn't going to be an offensive tackle like a Mekhi Becton later on. Now, you could go Jedrick Wills, Tristan Wirfs here, but I am getting Becton because I really think they should address that left tackle spot with Okung being traded. And I think that he has that potential to be an absolute beast as well. So getting a guy like Mekhi Becton, use Tyrod Taylor, sign somebody if you want, or tank for Lawrence next year, or get Fields, or whatever it is in the next draft. I think that Mekhi Becton is going to be a better pick here for the Chargers. Now moving on over to pick 7, I have the Carolina Panthers selecting defensive tackle Derrick Brown out of Auburn. Now, the reason Derrick Brown is at 7 is because of other positional needs. Other than that, this guy is an absolute beast. I think that he is a top 5 talent. He's an absolute mauler, and getting him on the defensive front with Brian Burns is going to be scary for a long, long time in Carolina. This is a guy who's going to excite a lot of Carolina fans. He's going to be an absolute beast, and you're going to see the results right away. He's going to produce day one, and I think that's something that Carolina Panthers fans are going to need to see because last year was a little bit of a disappointment with Cam getting injured. Now you look back and you see, okay, Kuechly's gone, Olsen's gone, Cam's gone. Pretty much her whole identity for the past 10 years is been disappeared now. So now you got to look at a new regime, and that is McCaffrey, Derrick Brown, Brian Burns, Dante Jackson, these younger guys who are really going to take over, DJ Moore. You just signed Robbie Anderson. There's different things you could do. This is a spot where they could even go never mind. I'm sorry. I was about to say they could go Justin Herbert. You could still, but I for some reason was blanking with Teddy Bridgewater. But this is Teddy Bridgewater's team. Get a guy on the defense that's going to help him get on and off the field, have some time to recap, and get back on the field later. Derrick Brown's going to force that for them. Absolutely defensive beast in Derrick Brown. Now we go over to pick 8. I have the Cardinals selecting offensive tackle Jedrick Wills Jr. out of Alabama. Now, Jedrick Wills is an absolute beast if you look at him as just a human being. He is a monster. He wants to go out there and hurt people. He was arguably unbeatable at the right tackle spot this year with Alabama. He was just doing everything right in any set or any facet. This is a spot where the Cardinals could go for maybe a Derrick Brown if he falls. Could go maybe Isaiah Simmons if they really want, or could go for a C.J. Henderson here. Could even go CeeDee Lamb if they want. But I think that, even though you have Marcus Gilbert back, I think getting a guy like Wills, even if you don't have to play him right away, I think he will play over a guy like Gilbert. You only have Gilbert on a 1-year deal. You brought him back. This is a guy who's going to set the offensive line for years with Humphreys, and he's going to do it well. You got to protect Kyler Murray. He got sacked so much. He was like one of the most sacked quarterbacks last year, and he's a scrambling quarterback. That shouldn't be a thing. So get Jedrick Wills to give him a little bit more time, and you're going to see such a good offense with him throwing to DeAndre Hopkins. It's going to be insane. I'm very excited for this Cardinals season. Then moving on over to pick 9, the Isaiah Simmons sweepstakes stop at pick 9, where the Jaguars select him here. Not the most positional need, especially if Telvin Smith decides he wants to return to football, which we don't really know if he's going to. But I think that it's kind of those best available scenarios. They could go Javon Kinlaw here, maybe a receiver as well. Could even go Herbert if they really don't believe in Gardner. But I think that they do. I think everyone believes in Gardner Minshew because he proved a lot for where he was drafted last year to at least get another year for a shot. But getting Isaiah Simmons, I mean, this is a guy who can transcend your defense. A lot of scouts and teams are saying that he's looked at more as a safety, which is why his value is kind of getting overlooked or it's getting overhyped in the media, is because we see him as this transcendent player. But people are saying, he's not really going to be able to play a linebacker position at the NFL level, which I kind of see in his game. I understand what they're saying when they kind of list out their points and etc. I kind of understand what it and whatever, but that's the thing about the Jags is that they need an outside linebacker, they need a safety. You have a guy who can play both. So getting a guy like Isaiah Simmons, he's going to be able to play positionless, and it's going to be very good, that versatility for a team like the Jaguars. You got to get Duval County back up on the bandwagon for the Jags because a couple years ago they were in the AFC Championship. Now they've seen Jalen Ramsey, Bouye, Ngakwe's about to get traded, etc., all leaving. So you very much need to fix and get some hype into the Jaguars fan base. Isaiah Simmons will get that hype right into him. Then moving on over to pick 10, I have the Cleveland Browns selecting Tristan Wirfs out of Iowa. Very polished right tackle. Iowa always produces good offensive linemen. You're going to get a starter on day one. I think that you could probably move him to left tackle if you want because you did get Jack Conklin. But Jack Conklin played left tackle in college. I think that you'd be able to move Conklin to the left and protect Baker's blind side a lot better with Conklin there. But it adds versatility. He's the best offensive lineman on the board left, obviously. Some people have him as the best offensive lineman, period. So to get him at pick 10 would be absolutely huge. Getting worse for them would protect Baker a lot, and that's the number one priority in this first round is protecting your investment in Baker Mayfield. Then moving on over to pick 11, I have the Jets selecting C.J. Henderson. Yes, C.J. Henderson over receivers. Just looking at the team, you have Anunwa, you have Crowder, you have Brashad Perriman. Is that the best receiving core? Hell frickin' no. But when you go into the second rounds, third round, you can find a receiver that can add to that core. Not as good as a CeeDee Lamb, but you can at least get a receiver that's going to be good. And maybe you find the Terry McLaurin of the draft. There's a lot of good talent in the second round. Laviska Shenault, why am I blanking? Jalen Reagor. There's a lot of good talent at receiver in the next round. Cornerback, it's a little bit more iffy. There's a big drop-off after these guys. You don't really know what you're getting after, I say, the top 4 or 5 corners. So getting a guy like C.J. Henderson, who some teams even have him higher than Okudah, you're getting a lockdown guy. When you look at the Jets secondary, behind Pierre Desir at the corner position, you really don't have much. And Desir, I think you only have on a 1 year. So getting a guy like C.J. Henderson, I think, is a must for the Jets. He's going to help you out a lot, and he's going to be a very, very good player. People say he can't tackle as much. Well, thank God you got Perez in the back to do that for him. I think the Jets take C.J. Henderson here. Then the Raiders are going to be clamoring because they're going to Las Vegas with a brand new toy in CeeDee Lamb, their wide receiver out of Oklahoma. What can you say about this guy that hasn't already been said? Kind of like what I said about Burrow. This guy is explosive. He's got the run after catch ability. He's got the hands. He's got the speed. He's able to do so much with the football in his hands and just break off so well. I think he's the best receiver in this class. I think it's close between the other two, but we'll see in the next 2 picks where these other two go. I have the Raiders taking CeeDee Lamb and running away with it. Derek Carr, get back to your MVP caliber play because CeeDee Lamb is an absolute weapon. Then moving on over to the Bay Area's selection at pick 13, I am getting Jerry Jeudy here. I think they're going to trade at least one of their picks because they really don't have any day 2 picks at all. Well, they don't have any day 2 picks at all. So I think they could move back. But in reality, there's not that many holes to fix. If they wanted to stick here and not get day 2 picks for depth, it wouldn't even be that horrible because they will get 2 very solid players. So if they stick at pick 13, Jerry Jeudy out of Alabama, most polished route runner we've probably ever seen come out in the draft in a long time. If you watch this guy's tape, you're going to be astonished with how well he is off his release, with his route running ability. Just absolute monster with the football. Getting him there with Deebo Samuel, filling that Emmanuel Sanders hole because Emmanuel Sanders helped a lot when he got there. It's going to be a lot of high-flying action in the Bay Area with Jimmy G and Jerry Jeudy, as well as Deebo Samuel and that insane run game that you have in the Bay. Now we're going over to pick 14. I actually have the Buccaneers selecting Henry Ruggs III. Now, some of you might be saying, okay, well, that's not really as much of a need. You're damn right it's not. But how much fun would it be to see? And I think that's what the Buccaneers are looking at. When you look past Evans and Godwin, there could be some more depth that could be added. I think that when you look at what Henry Ruggs can bring to the table, he's fast. He could play in the slot if you need him to. I think that on top of that, you have Godwin, you have Mike Evans. Both of those are guys who can catch the ball, play the 50-50s, get a guy like Henry Ruggs who can just burn past anybody. This offense is going to be absolutely insane, not only for Tom Brady, but whoever is going to be the successor to Tom Brady after Brady retires, because Henry Ruggs is still going to be there. Evans is still probably going to be there. Godwin's still going to be there. It's going to be a good team. It's going to be a good young team. They could go running back here, maybe a DeAndre Swift as well. Maybe address the defensive side like an Xavier McKinney, or looking at somebody else on the defensive side. But other than that, Henry Ruggs, I think that's going to be absolutely good to pair with, Gronkowski there as well. It's going to be fun to watch this Buccaneers team. I think the Buccaneers are in win now mode, get Brady as many weapons, and let's see what he can do with them. Then going on over to pick 15, I have the Broncos selecting defensive tackle Javon Kinlaw. Now, Broncos fans, this isn't your biggest need. You signed Jurrell Casey. I think that was a very good signing as well. Very low-key signing that a lot of people are saying, but he is up there in age. You could afford to get somebody else, and why not get the best pass rusher in the interior in this whole draft, and that is Javon Kinlaw. A lot better in the pass rush than Derrick Brown. Derrick Brown is a lot more of a plug-in-the-hole, run-stuffing kind of guy. He can still get through in the pass rush, don't get me wrong. Javon Kinlaw is a pass rush specialist. With Chubb and Miller still there, I think he will be an absolute beast there. I don't have him going receiver just because I think that it's a little high for Justin Jefferson, in my opinion. They could go corner. They could go other places as well. I just think Javon Kinlaw is the best available player, and I think that at this spot, that's kind of where they need to go, is best available. This is a spot where they could trade down or they could trade up. There's reports that they might want to trade up to between 10 and obviously their pick 15 to get a receiver like a CeeDee Lamb or somebody. But getting Javon Kinlaw here, playing the best available game, it's going to help you out in the long run. Having him in that run defense against whoever they have. AFC's looking really tough these next few years, so adding him there with Bradley Chubb coming back from injury, I think will be fun for years and years to come. Then going on over to pick 16, I have the Falcons selecting A.J. Terrell. Now this is actually the highest I've ever had A.J. Terrell in my drafts. I think I've only had him in the first round not too long ago, but he's gotten a lot of buzz. A lot of people are kind of saying, hey, that national championship game, Jamar Chase is going to be a top 5 pick most likely next year. He's that freaking good. So he was going to get burned in that national championship game. And I understand it. And watching more and more of his game, he's just polished, man. He's got length. He's got size. I think that's what you need as a Falcons defender. You got to have that length and size. And they look like they are still kind of competing. They have Gurley. They have a solid offense. That defense is really where they got to help out, especially in the secondary. So A.J. Terrell, I think, can really help that. They could go a different corner here. They could go even an edge rusher like an Epenesa, Gross Matos, Chaisson. But I think right now, I think that getting the length, even though it might seem like a little bit of a reach, A.J. Terrell, I think, will be the best fit for the Falcons. Now, back-to-back cornerback picks at 17. I have them selecting Kristian Fulton. The Dallas Cowboys I have selecting. It's kind of weird, but what I think is going to be funny is that he has off-the-field issues, and that's kind of something that the Cowboys look to correct at the next level. Does it always work? Hell no, it doesn't always work. But Kristian Fulton is a lockdown corner when he's not gotten in trouble. I think that he's a very good player. I think he's arguably one of the best corners in this draft. If he didn't have those off-the-field issues, I think he could even go a little bit higher. But he did have to miss some of his season, and that does suck. But when you look at what Kristian Fulton can bring to you as a player on your team, he's going to be a beast, and that's really what you want from a guy in this Dallas Cowboys secondary, because you lost Byron Jones. You don't really have any safety play. Even Jeff Heath, the headhunter's gone. So getting somebody in the secondary, I feel like, is a must for the Cowboys here at pick 17, and they're going to be taking Kristian Fulton. Now at pick 18, I'm not shying away from the pick. Josh Jones out of Houston. I think his upside is there. I think you could play him day one. This offensive line needs to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed right away. Now, this could be a spot where they go maybe a right tackle position. You could make a reach on Isaiah Wilson. You could trade down. This pick might not even be there still if they traded up at all. So it's going to be interesting to see, but I think addressing the offensive line in any facet can help out a lot, and that's what you're going to be getting with Josh Jones. Now the Raiders' second pick of the draft, already picking up CeeDee Lamb. They're going to be taking Trevon Diggs at pick 19. Moving to Las Vegas with these two rookies is going to be absolutely insane. This guy is one of my favorite corners, one of my favorite prospects in this draft. He just interests me a lot with how he played at Alabama, his upside, and etc. So putting him there to fill that hole that Garyon Conley has filled, has left, in that secondary. The defense needs a lot of working on for the Raiders, but the Raiders surprised a lot of people last year with playing pretty decent. So adding these two players will probably get them over that hump to where they could be in a wild card race as soon as next year. So we'll see what they can do next year, but Trevon Diggs out of Alabama is the pick at 19. Moving on to pick 20, I have the Jaguars now selecting defensive end A.J. Epenesa out of Iowa. Now, by pick 20, I hope they've already dealt Yannick Ngakoue because it's going to make his price go down a lot if they take a defensive end here, an edge rusher in A.J. Epenesa. But Epenesa, I think, just has that versatility of being a big-bodied defensive end and playing on the edge. He's very good at it. You lost Calais Campbell. You traded Calais Campbell, so there's a hole already there. Ngakoue's on his way out, obviously. You have Josh Allen, which is good. But, I mean, even Dante Fowler, you gave up on him early a couple years ago. You need to fill the defensive end and get a set defensive end because that is the scary part of Duval is that it used to be the front seven. Now, you look at what you have. You drafted Isaiah Simmons. You have Joe Scobert. You have Miles Jack. Now you add Josh Allen last year and A.J. Epenesa this year. It's right back to being a scary front seven. And guess what? They're pretty young, too. I mean, those guys have a lot of years left in their tank, so it's going to be very fun to see what this Jaguars team does. Yes, the offense still is probably going to struggle, but you trade Yannick Ngakoue for some more picks, maybe get a player as well in that trade, and I think you could be set up to be very surprising next year is the best word to say. I think Minshew has some tricks up his sleeve, so getting Epenesa here would be a very good fit for the Jags. I think you're walking away with two very solid defensive players in the first round. Now at pick 21, the question is going to be, do they go linebacker, do they go receiver? I'm going to stay receiver because Justin Jefferson is still on the board here for the Eagles. A very polished player. He had a good year. Is that because of Burrow? Is Burrow because of these guys? It's going to be seen in the NFL. But I think Justin Jefferson has the talent to at least be a solid receiver, if not an upgrade over Aguilar at the very least. You have Alshon, you have Deshaun Jackson coming back from injury. You lost Aguilar to the Raiders. Getting Justin Jefferson here will fill at least the solid hole that there hasn't been a very good receiver from the Eagles in such a long time. Probably since Djax's rookie year is when the last time you guys had a very good receiver. Obviously, he was good throughout his career, but you look, Macklin didn't pan out, Aguilar didn't pan out. You need a receiver that can just fill the hole and be there for a while. I think Justin Jefferson can do that for them at pick 21. I have the Eagles taking him. Now the first of two picks for the Vikings here because of the Stephon Diggs trade. This is the Bills' first pick. So luckily they do get this one, and they're able to fill another hole on their team that Everson Griffin left, and that is K'Lavon Chaisson out of LSU. I'm not sure how I feel about this prospect just because I don't know. I think that the LSU defense is so good because, I mean, their defensive coordinator, he's making $2 million a year for a reason. He's such a beast. You look at what this LSU defense does. They play together so well. So to see how they can do individually at the next level is going to be seen. But I think that Chaisson is going to be very solid, especially across from Daniel Hunter and having Michael Pierce in the middle as well. The D-line is going to be as scary as it was last year, if not scarier, and a lot younger as well. So getting a guy like Chaisson here will help out the Vikings a lot. I like what they're doing here at pick 22. Now at pick 23, for all you people screaming at the screen that Herbert is still not off the board, it's because trades don't happen. Will this happen? Most likely not. It's possible we see an Aaron Rodgers situation, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen. I think Herbert's going to be gone by pick 15. Someone's going to trade up for him. Could even be the Patriots. But if not, the Patriots, I think, are taking a quarterback here. There's talks about Cole Kmet going here. You look at defense, they could go Patrick Queen or Kenneth Murray or somebody in that stature. I think that they go quarterback and fill that hole. You can't go into next year with Stidham or Hoyer as your quarterback, especially not with – you just signed Marquise Lee. You got N'Keal Harry in his second year. He should be fully healthy. Edelman's still there, kicking as much as he can. Sanu, Myers. I mean, you have a good offense. If you get a rookie quarterback there, a good offensive line as well, you're able to – he's not going to be able to just go in there and just kind of suck because the team sucks. Just because you lost Gronk, he wasn't playing anyway. You're not losing anything from that. Get a guy there who can throw to these young guys and let them build together. I mean, if you have Jacoby Myers and N'Keal Harry progressing, I mean, they both had solid showings in their rookie year. They need to progress, though. I think that they can progress with a guy like a Justin Herbert, a Jordan Love, a Jacob Eason, whoever you decide to pick, Jalen Hurts. I think Herbert, if he's still on the board, would be the easy selection here for the Patriots. Pick 24, I have the Saints staying in state and going LSU linebacker Patrick Queen, one of my favorite prospects in this draft class. I can't wait to see where he goes. I think he is going to be the next best linebacker in the NFL because of how his upside is. I think he's that good. He's one of my favorite prospects in this draft class, and getting him on the Saints, a team that's already a Super Bowl contender, their roster is pretty much the cleanest in the NFL. There's really not a weak point for them, and they have the selection here where they're going to get such a good player in Patrick Queen. I love what the Saints can do here, and I can't wait to see if this is where they go in the draft. Going into the second pick for the Vikings, Denzel Mims, the receiver out of Baylor, is going over to Minnesota to fill that Stephon Diggs role. I mean, he's a big play guy. He's able to make the jump ball. He's able to outrun players. He's got great hands. People have him ranked higher than some of the Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lambs, Henry Ruggs, Justin Jeffersons of the world. And I understand it. I mean, he's gotten a lot of hype throughout his offseason. Playing at Baylor, obviously Baylor isn't what they once were with RG3 and everything, but he was a very big bright spot for that team. And I think that it's absolutely a perfect fit for him to go to a team like the Vikings where he can flourish with Thielen on the other side as well as Kirk Cousins throwing to him. So Denzel Mims going to the Vikings. Skull Nation, you guys should be happy. You just got two very solid draft picks from pick 22 and 25. Now, going to pick 26, I have the Dolphins selecting running back DeAndre Swift out of Georgia. Now, I've seen reports that it's believed around the league that there's going to be at least one, if not three, running backs taken in the first round, in that later first round. And that's why I have DeAndre Swift going here. Now, it's possible that they go and fill a different need, maybe address the running back position later because they have Jordan Howard. But I say, why not? Why wait? DeAndre Swift is arguably the best running back in this class, not receiver. I have Jonathan Taylor a little bit higher, but I understand why DeAndre Swift is labeled as high. I mean, he compared himself to McCaffrey in an NFL video when they were doing the Meet the Prospects. So, I mean, let him show what he's got. He has the talent. You're building the offensive line. He now has a quarterback in Tua Tagovailoa for the next few years. You have such a good team. Why not get a running back who can be the next best thing going into next year? So DeAndre Swift at 26, I think is a very solid pick for the Dolphins. Now at pick 27, a guy who a lot of people still aren't talking about, but around the league is getting pretty much praised for no simple way that he falls out of the first round. Ezra Cleveland, the offensive tackle from Boise State. Russell Wilson has needed protection for years, hasn't really gotten it. Why not get Ezra Cleveland, who I think is the best tackle available on the board? He's got everything that you need at the tackle position. He's polished, and he's going to do well at the next level, especially in that Seahawks offensive line. I don't know why I can't speak right now, but behind Russell Wilson helps you out as an offensive lineman as long as you help him as an offensive lineman. So Ezra Cleveland's going to fit in perfectly there. I think that's going to be a good fit. Seahawks usually trade down. It's very possible they're not even picking here, but I think they can go Ezra Cleveland here. Now at pick 28, I have the Ravens selecting a running back as well in Jonathan Taylor. Mark Ingram is getting up there in age, even though his production has not slowed down in the slightest. He was a Pro Bowler still last year. He's an absolute beast. You can run multiple running back sets. I know Justice Hill is there, and you liked him, Gus Edwards as well, but getting a guy like Jonathan Taylor is a transcendent player, one of the best college running backs in the history of the sport. So getting a guy like Jonathan Taylor, he's going to transcend that running back position. He's going to be able to do a lot from you at that spot as well. With the reports that running backs are going to be going in this later round, I see a guy like him going here. Even if the Ravens decide to trade back or go somewhere else, I mean, they could go a Kenneth Murray here. They could address an edge rushing position as well if need be. As we do know, they still don't have Matthew Judon on contract, so we'll see what they do. But I think Jonathan Taylor would be a very good fit for them to complement Mark Ingram a lot. You could free up that running back committee, maybe send somebody else somewhere for a day 2 pick, like a Gus Edwards or Justice Hill. I feel like they could pick up a day 2 pick, but Jonathan Taylor I think would be an absolute beast for the Ravens. Going into pick 29, I have the Titans selecting defensive end Yetur Gross-Matos out of Penn State. I mean, just hearing his story and all he's gone through, the adversity he's done, just warmed my heart. I mean, it was a very beautiful story if you don't know everything about it. He lost his dad at age 1. The story was like he fell off of a boat when he was 1 year old, and his dad jumped into the water and saved him, but drowned while doing so. Which is horrible, tragic story. And I think he lost his brother as well in a car crash or it was something like that. He's lost his dad and his brother. It's just been him and his mom, and he's grown up and he's become one of the best edge rushers in this class. His speed off the edge is second to none. He gets in the backfield like nobody's business. His strength, he did a lot at Penn State, and I can't wait to see where he goes. I think he's a first rounder. There's no way he falls out of it. If he does, he's going in the first couple picks of the second round. But Gross-Matos going to the Titans here would be absolutely a perfect fit for him and for the Titans. Now we go on over to pick 30. I have the Packers selecting wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk out of Arizona State. Aiyuk had a surprising season for a lot of people, even ASU fans. I knew that Aiyuk was going to be good going into it, being an Arizona State student in myself, but he just surprised everybody. I mean, Jayden Daniels being there really helped him become the best prospect he could be, and he has it all. He has the return speed, the return ethics. I mean, he's able to go back there and do whatever in the return game. But his wide receiving traits, I mean, his route running ability is really good for a guy at his size. He's got the strength, but he also has the speed. I mean, that's really what it is. He's able to make people miss. He's able to do a lot. Him and N'Keal Harry's game are a lot more similar than people think. N'Keal Harry is more of that polished guy, but Aiyuk has the traits, you know. And Aiyuk is looking like a very solid pick, especially going to a team like the Packers, where Aaron Rodgers is going to be throwing to him, Devontae Adams, Valdez-Scantling. I mean, it's going to be fun to see this Packers team next year. Then we go on over to pick 31. I have the 49ers selecting safety Xavier McKinney out of Alabama. Now, obviously, you have Jaquiski Tartt. You have Jimmy Ward. I think Jimmy Ward can play corner. He's done it before in his career. Not the best at corner, but you're able to slide people around. You know, Robert Saleh is a beast of a defensive coordinator and just a human being. I mean, have you seen that guy? But for his probably last year in San Francisco, I think he's going to get a head coaching job next year. Why not just bolster that defense even more? Xavier McKinney will be able to do a lot for you. You're able to find spots for him to play, and as well as Ward and Tartt at the safety positions. You're able to move him around. I know Saleh will be able to figure it out, get the best available guy, in my opinion, in Xavier McKinney, and fill out that defense even more than it is, and that is a very solid pick for the 49ers. They could trade down here as well to get day 2 picks, but if they're sticking here, Xavier McKinney's my pick. And the very last pick of my mock draft, my final mock draft, I have Jaylon Johnson going to the Chiefs. Very simple. He's lengthy. He's big. He's shut down. He's able to do man-to-man. He's able to play zone. He's able to do a lot of things at a very good level. He's not going to be this elite corner, in my opinion. He has the upside to probably get there. But in my opinion, I think he's really just going to be a very solid corner, and that's what this Chiefs team needs, is a solid corner. You know, they let Marcus Peters go. They let Kendall Fuller go. They need a corner very badly. Jaylon Johnson, I think, is the next best guy. You could get Jeff Gladney. I just think Jaylon Johnson fits a little bit of the mold more in Kansas City. But that is going to be it for my final mock draft of the year. Once again, thank you guys so much for sticking with me this whole year and just going through and watching all the 7-round mock drafts and the full mock drafts and everything to do with the draft up and coming into this day. This is the day we've all been waiting for, so I'm very excited to share this with you. And once again, just thank you so much for all the support over the few months. It's been amazing to see everything. If you did like the video, please be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. If you didn't, refresh that page, check it out again, and let me know what you think a second time. And without further ado, I will see you guys tomorrow after this first round of the draft. I can't wait to see what happens. I know you guys can't wait either, and I will see you guys then.